Have you ever wondered what makes criminal organizations like Italy's Ndrangheta and Colombian cartels dominate the underground world for decades? On one side, a mafia with over 150 years of history, silently infiltrating every nook and cranny of society. On the other, cartels that burst forth with violence, using fear to control both territories and the global drug market. Who is truly stronger, an empire built on secrecy and tradition, or a force that dominates through brutality and audacity? Let's delve into their world to find the answer. Let's begin with the historical origins of these two powerful organizations. On one side is Ndrangheta, the oldest mafia organization in Italy, and on the other side are the Colombian cartels, a symbol of explosive growth in the modern underworld. The question is, can an empire built over centuries outperform an empire formed quickly but ambitiously? Ndrangheta emerged from Calabria, southern Italy, in the 19th century, in a context of peasants oppressed by wealthy landowners. At that time, small groups formed with the goal of self-defense and protecting communities from injustice. But from protection, they began to build their own power, transitioning to controlling communities through threats and punishment. This organization did not rush to expand, but instead developed slowly but surely, generation by generation. By maintaining family traditions and absolute secrecy, they survived many historical upheavals, from world wars to Italian government crackdowns. Meanwhile, the Colombian cartels have a completely different story. Their birth is linked to the explosive demand for cocaine in the United States in the 1970s. Small drug smuggling groups in Colombia, initially operating only locally, quickly recognized the enormous potential of the international market. From there, cartels like Medellin and Cali rapidly expanded, becoming massive drug corporations, led by Pablo Escobar and the Rodriguez Orihuela family. They not only controlled cocaine production but also gained control of global transportation and distribution. An interesting point to emphasize is how each organization leveraged the context of their era. Ndrangheta was built on persistence and long-term vision, using family relationships to ensure stability and loyalty. They were not hasty, but carefully established power step by step. Today, they have become one of the wealthiest criminal organizations in the world, with annual revenues of tens of billions of dollars from drugs and other illegal activities. In contrast, the Colombian cartels represent explosion and dynamism. They maximized the drug craze in the US to expand quickly, creating a perfect supply chain from coca fields in the Andes, through secret processing facilities, to sophisticated transportation routes. Their development was like a powerful flame, brilliant but also full of risks. So what is the most striking difference between these two organizations in their development history? For Ndrangheta, persistence and tradition are the foundation of their strength. They did not seek fame but chose to operate silently, hiding in the shadows. Meanwhile, the Colombian cartels were not afraid to use violence and power to dominate territories and attract world attention. The question is, which approach will bring greater advantages in the long term? Imagine a scenario. If these two organizations coexisted and competed in the same historical period, would Ndrangheta's silent strategy overcome the boldness and explosion of the Colombian cartels? Or conversely, would the cartel's brutality overshadow the Italian organization's persistence? This question not only opens an interesting perspective but also stimulates passionate debates. And to understand more deeply, let's move to the next aspect, the operational regions where both these organizations truly demonstrate their real power. Let's shift to another aspect where the power of Ndrangheta and the Colombian cartels is clearly demonstrated, their operational areas. A thought-provoking question: if history creates the foundation, do control regions determine an organization's position in the criminal world? Ndrangheta, despite originating from Calabria, a poor and isolated region, transformed it into a center of underground power. They not only control Calabria but have developed a network across Italy. However, what makes them truly frightening is their ability to expand operations beyond national territory. Europe, especially countries like Germany, Netherlands, and Spain, has become Ndrangheta's backyard. Large ports like Gioia Tauro in Italy serve as gateways for cocaine entering the continent, with tons of drugs transported annually under their discreet supervision. They've even established influence in Canada, collaborating with local criminal groups to consolidate power. Their globalization is evident in their control not just of drug markets but also penetration into legal sectors like real estate, restaurants, and businesses. This silent and long-term strategy has helped them maintain stability on a global scale. In contrast, the Colombian cartels have a completely different approach. They build power through openly and brutally controlling territories. With coca fields stretching across the Andes, Colombia became the world's largest cocaine production center. But beyond production, the cartels control the entire supply chain, from processing to drug transportation out of South America. They don't hesitate to use bold methods for drug smuggling, from homemade submarines and private planes to drug-laden fruit shipments. Collaborating with organizations like Mexican cartels and groups in West Africa, they expanded markets from North America to Europe and even Asia. Notably, the Colombian cartels not only focus on profit but use power to control entire communities, transforming areas under their influence into personal kingdoms, with their own armies and laws. So what's the greater advantage? Ndrangheta, with its ability to infiltrate and control wealthy European markets, or the Colombian cartels, with absolute dominance from drug production to global distribution? Another thought-provoking question. If Ndrangheta confronted Colombian cartels in a neutral region like West Africa, where both have strategic interests, who would prevail? This raises another issue. Will Ndrangheta's discretion help them maintain their advantage? Or will the Colombian cartel's boldness be the decisive factor? The answer isn't straightforward, but it will become clearer as we delve into the next aspect: financial foundations, where the true source of each organization's power is revealed. After examining history and operational areas, let's explore the most critical factor enabling Ndrangheta and Colombian cartels to maintain and expand their power: financial foundations. Money is not just a tool for operation but the source of power in the criminal world. However, how these two organizations earn, manage assets, and reinvest differ fascinatingly. Ndrangheta is renowned as an underground empire, with diverse and stable financial strategies. Cocaine is their primary income, accounting for 80% of the organization's revenue, with annual profits in tens of billions of dollars. What distinguishes them is how they use these funds. Ndrangheta doesn't stop at drug trafficking. They heavily invest in legal industries like real estate, restaurants, construction, and even international finance. Areas like Milan, Berlin, or Toronto are where they launder money through large real estate transactions or shell businesses. This approach not only helps them conceal illegal asset origins but also provides a layer of protection from government crackdowns. Imagine a luxurious building in Germany or an expensive restaurant in Canada could be part of Ndrangheta's massive financial network. They don't need violence to control assets, but instead silently penetrate economic systems. This is what makes them one of the most sophisticated financial networks in the underground world. In contrast, Colombian cartels operate financially with a completely different philosophy. They focus all resources on optimizing the cocaine supply chain, from coca fields in Colombia to secret processing facilities, and finally transportation routes. Each step is optimized for maximum profit. Unlike Ndrangheta, cartels don't prioritize legal sector investments but reinvest most profits into criminal activities, buying weapons, bribing officials, and building private armies. A classic example is the Medellin cartel under Pablo Escobar's leadership. Escobar, dubbed the Cocaine King, controlled up to 80% of the global cocaine market at his peak. With billions in profits, he used part of the money to build residential areas, schools, and even stadiums to gain support from Colombian people. However, most money was used to maintain a massive armed network capable of confronting the Colombian government. An interesting point is how the two organizations handle financial pressure. When facing crackdowns or revenue decline, Ndrangheta has a significant advantage through income diversification. They don't rely solely on drugs but also on legal activities to maintain finances. In contrast, Colombian cartels are more prone to crisis when drug supply chains are disrupted, as they depend almost entirely on this sector. But this doesn't mean cartels lack creativity in protecting assets. Some cartels have used extremely sophisticated money-hiding methods. From burying cash underground to transporting money across borders in industrial shipments. The Colombian government once discovered billions of dollars hidden in secret tunnels belonging to the Medellin cartel. Such a massive sum that it began to rot from disuse. The question emerges. Which strategy is better, Ndrangheta's stability and diversification or Colombian cartel's full-force focus on a high-profit sector? Another perspective is reinvestment capacity. While Ndrangheta uses money to expand influence through legal businesses, Colombian cartels focus on consolidating military power. This leads to a big question. Is economic power control more sustainable than domination through violence? And if both organizations faced a global financial crisis, for instance, a sharp decline in cocaine demand, who would survive longer? Consider this as we continue exploring the next aspect, networks of relationships. The factor helping both organizations expand and maintain their global power. If finances are the lifeblood sustaining Ndrangheta and Colombian cartels, their network of relationships is the skeleton keeping both organizations standing in a volatile world. The question is, how does a criminal organization build and maintain relationships? Not just internally but with external forces, from politics to international organizations? Ndrangheta is known as a master of building soft power relationships. Unlike the explosive and bold Colombian cartels, they choose to silently penetrate societal power structures. In Italy, Ndrangheta not only controls criminal activities but also infiltrates political, economic, and legal systems. Many investigations have revealed that in some areas of Calabria, government officials, even police, have been bribed to turn a blind eye to illegal activities. But their influence doesn't stop at Italy's borders. Ndrangheta has expanded its relationship network globally. Especially in Europe, they use legal businesses like restaurants, transport companies, and real estate as bridges to build connections with entrepreneurs, banks, and even foreign officials. For example, in Germany, they leverage family businesses to launder money and create perfect cover. While in Canada, they collaborate with local criminal organizations to control drug markets and build safe transportation systems. What makes Ndrangheta frightening is how they maintain these relationships. They don't use violence publicly like Colombian cartels, but instead use subtle persuasion and sophisticated financial transactions. Through this strategy, Ndrangheta not only avoids public attention but becomes difficult for law enforcement to penetrate. In contrast, Colombian cartels approach relationship building entirely differently. They don't rely on persuasion or soft relationships, but focus on brute force and fear. Pablo Escobar, the notorious Medellin cartel leader, created a famous motto, plata o plomo, meaning silver or lead, implying you either accept a bribe or face a bullet. This approach, though brutal, helped Colombian cartels establish absolute control in their operational areas. In Colombia, they not only bribe government officials but also threaten and suppress those who dare to resist. Cartels even established private armies strong enough to directly confront national armed forces. This is why in many areas, cartels became de facto governments, controlling people's entire lives. Internationally, Colombian cartels also show cleverness and collaboration. They established close relationships with Mexican cartels like Sinaloa to transport drugs across the US border. Moreover, they expanded operations to Africa, using West African routes to introduce drugs into Europe. This cooperation helped Colombian cartels rapidly and effectively expand their global market. However, the greatest difference between these organizations lies not just in relationship building but in the sustainability of these relationships. For Ndrangheta, their network is stable and long-lasting due to discretion and ability to maintain absolute secrecy. In contrast, Colombian cartels face continuous instability. Because most of their relationships are built on fear and violence, they easily collapse with power shifts or when a leader is arrested. A thought-provoking question. Will Ndrangheta's soft power, based on persuasion and infiltration strategy, prove superior to the Colombian cartel's military might and boldness? Another perspective worth debating. In an increasingly complex and globalized world, which method will provide a longer-term advantage? Imagine a scenario. If Ndrangheta and Colombian cartels compete to establish networks in a neutral region like Southeast Asia, where neither has a strong presence, which strategy would prevail? To answer this, we'll delve into another aspect: how they recruit and manage members, an essential factor in maintaining each organization's power. If finances and networks are the core of a criminal organization, then recruitment and member management are the foundation of internal strength. Ndrangheta and Colombian cartels, with their cultural and strategic differences, have unique approaches to building loyal forces. But which is more sustainable, traditional family bonds or the power of money and fear? Ndrangheta operates like a family empire, where all members have blood relations or at least close connections. This is not an open system, no one can easily join. Becoming part of Ndrangheta requires more than trust. You must be connected by blood relations or strategic marriages. This helps the organization control loyalty and limit internal betrayal risks. Imagine children born into an Ndrangheta family not just raised as ordinary citizens but indoctrinated with the organization's ideology from childhood. They grow up understanding that protecting the family means protecting the organization. This is not just a job, but a legacy passed through generations, creating an astonishing internal stability that other criminal organizations struggle to achieve. In contrast, Colombian cartels recruit from outside, targeting all social layers. They particularly focus on young people in impoverished areas with limited job opportunities. Promising money, power, and luxury lifestyles, cartels easily attract youth with nothing to lose. However, not all join voluntarily. Often, cartels use threats and violence to compel people into their ranks. A clear example is how cartels build private armies, including mercenaries and members trained as assassins or guards. In secret bases, they conduct military training where new recruits learn weapon use, armored vehicle driving, and even tactics for confronting national armies. This transforms cartels from criminal organizations into actual military forces capable of controlling entire territories. But the Colombian cartel's approach carries risks. Relying on money and fear to control members means loyalty can quickly dissolve when these factors disappear. A captured member might quickly betray the organization for government leniency. This is why Colombian cartels frequently face betrayal and internal division risks. Conversely, Ndrangheta rarely encounters such problems. Because members are family or close community members, betrayal means not just death but dishonor for the entire clan. This creates a robust protective wall, making the organization almost impenetrable from within. The question emerges: which approach better builds and maintains loyalty? Can a family tradition-based organization maintain long-term stability compared to one built on financial and military power? Another perspective: what different consequences would a member's betrayal have in each organization? Consider this as we move to the final section, where all elements converge to spark a passionate discussion about the true power of these two criminal organizations. So, after all, which is the stronger organization? The Ndrangheta with its persistence, secrecy, and sustainability rooted in family foundations, or the Colombian cartels, explosive, daring, and unhesitant in using force to control territories? One side employs soft power to infiltrate society, while the other enforces dominance through overt violence. Which strategy do you think would prevail if both organizations were to clash in the same territory? Or would they collaborate to form a super empire? Two organizations, two strategies, and two distinct approaches to power. But in the underworld, can the stability of the Ndrangheta outlast the boldness of the Colombian cartels? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming exciting content. We're always ready to take you deep into the most mysterious stories of the underworld.